And like I said, this affects even the text. Like look at how this looks. What even is this? If you were asked to describe the visual style of Roblox games in one word, what would that word be? Because for me, I would describe them as smooth. Roblox is a very simple platform, right? Obviously, there's the occasional game that's very, complex and whatever, but most games are fairly simple. And so you wouldn't expect like a lot of, visual quality from these games. But I would say that Roblox holds up quite well visually. The textures, they look nice, the models are actually, like I said, they're fairly smooth, right? And sure, there's, little grains here for some reason, but all in all, the textures look good, the lighting looks good. And for what is effectively just a sandbox, I would argue that Roblox does have above average like visual graphics. And so then I got the idea to just see if I could ruin this completely. I mean, look, a lot of old games, their graphics were terrible. Like look at some, early 3D game. Like it looked horrible. So just how much of that could we replicate in like modern Roblox? And let's start off with actually exactly that. So heading over to this thing called Studio Settings, we can see that there's an option here called Editor Quality Level. Now mine is set at level 21, which is the maximum level because, obviously I have the best setup known to man. But it goes from level 21 all the way to level 1. And so, let's just see what happens. Okay, so immediately all of the shadows basically disappear. Another thing is that like that little grainy texture on the parts is gone, which is interesting. And I'm also not sure if I'm just misremembering things, but this texture looks lower quality. Let's actually test this out, right? Level 1 and then level 21. Okay, I guess the texture is just bad all the time. Now, while it might not look like much has changed, like, okay, the shadows are gone and like it looks a bit more gray, but like whatever. Well, here's the thing. If I were to import my character into the game, right? Do you see this, right? Just like take a look at this, right? Don't these textures look weird? Doesn't he look a little like, I don't know, too plasticky? Take a look at these headphones, right? They're just completely yellow. And then now if I go ahead and then change the quality level, look at that massive difference. That's a whole glow up, bro. What the hell? And then just real quick for reference, let's go back to level 1. Okay, so the next change is also inside the Roblox Studio settings, but this time it's about this option, incoming replication lag. So replication is effectively the game telling the player that something has changed, or in other words, replicating whatever happens to the player. Like for example, if I let's say have a part on the server, right? And then I have like 5 players. If I delete the part on the server, then the server has to tell the players or, replicate the change to the players that, hey, this part is now gone. And what this does effectively is create intentional delays between replications. So for example, if I delete a part on the server, and then let's say I set this lag to be like 2 seconds or something, then the part will still exist for every single player for 2 seconds, and then it gets deleted. So let me show you this in action, right? And in fact, when I join the game, it should be 2 seconds of lag. Okay, so small thing, the graphics look a little too good because, we're not in studio technically, we're in the game. So I'm just gonna go to the settings and change that real quick. And yeah, there we go. Look at these beautiful graphics. And so just to show you how this thing works, like I said, right? Here I am, right? Here's me, the player. We're on the client. This is the server. This is just the game, right? So the way that this replication lag works is that if I move to, let's say, the spawn location or whatever, then 2 seconds later, the server will move me to the spawn location. So look at this, right? I'll move here. Look at that. And then if I go and delete the spawn location, because usually these changes are meant to happen instantly. Like if I move somewhere, the server should automatically update my movement to every other player. But now what ends up happening is that whenever I move, other players only see me moving 2 seconds after I've already moved. So again, this isn't really about like graphics or quality or whatever, but it just makes the game feel laggy, which I think is always a good thing. Okay, so the next big change that I want us to actually do is to just remove the textures of effectively everything. So just as an example, you see how we have these like headphones, right? Well, what I could do with these headphones is take the surface appearance of them and just delete it. So look at that. Now my headphones are completely white. So let's actually do just that, right? I'll make a local script. I'm going to say while task wait do, which is effectively going to create an infinite loop that runs every frame or so. And so then what we're going to do is just loop through the workspace. So workspace gets descendants do. And then we're just going to check if this V item is a mesh part, or if it's a texture, or if it's a decal, or if it's a, I don't know, surface appearance or whatever. All right, so what's happening here is that I'm basically checking if this part that we're looping through is either a mesh part or it's a decal, or it's a texture, and then I'm taking their texture properties and just setting them equal to nothing. Okay, so after some digging, I realized that I'm doing it completely wrong. I'm not supposed to set them to nil, I'm supposed to set them to empty string, which is kind of stupid, I guess, but it's fine. And another problem is that the mesh ID apparently cannot be like accessed via script. So then what I'll do instead is I'll just say if v is a, and then what was it called? Surface appearance. Then what we'll do is we'll just destroy any surface appearances that might exist. Because then it's just gonna like remove all of the color from the mesh parts. And let's try playing the game. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, so as you can see, the game is already looking amazing. We have no textures. The models are still here, but honestly, you know what? I think that's for the better. I think it's better to actually see the model, because otherwise it would just be like some cube or whatever, which I think would look bad anyway. And what I also did is I removed like the 2-second lag, because it just kept getting annoying for me to like play the game and have to wait for 2 seconds. So I'll remove it just for now, but just know that if you want to make a game basically unplayable, you should keep the lag. It's really bad. Okay, so the next changes are all about lighting, okay? Number one, we'll remove the atmosphere, okay? Just take a look at the horizon for a bit, okay? Just keep looking there. And now atmosphere is gone. Do you see how like blank this looks? Wonderful, okay. The next thing I'm thinking is that the sky looks a little too good. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't know, it's a bit too high quality. Like, we probably would just want like a flat sky. So yeah, I found a blue skybox in the toolbox, and it now looks like this. No sun, no gradients, no nothing, just a blue skybox. And then the very last change with lighting is to use this thing called a blur effect. And what we'll do is, have you ever just like woken up and like, I don't know, your eyes were just like a tiny bit blurry? Like they weren't like blurry like this, but they were just like blurry like just a little bit, you know? Like just enough, like this. Because I don't know, I just want to like make it blurry enough to where it just looks bad, but you can't exactly tell that there's a blur going on. And so let me just toggle the enable property just so you can see the difference, right? Look at that. Yeah, so now if I end up playing the game, it now looks like this. And in a weird way, like, I don't know, I'm getting this like weird feeling to like clean my eyes, just because I'm used to like cleaning them when, you know, everything looks like this. But there's nothing wrong with my eyes, it's just the game itself looks horrible. Honestly, it's actually so amazing that we've managed to make a game that looks so bad that like my eyes are literally like trying to clean themselves. Like, this is actually crazy. Okay, and so now we need to find a way to basically lower the frame rate. Okay, so I made a script, right? It's a server script, not a local script. And what I'm doing here is another, you know, while task.wait loop. And I'm basically making a loop inside of a loop where we loop 50 times and then we print the square root of whatever I is. So I is equal to like 1 and then 2 and 3 and then 4 all the way to 50, right? But that doesn't really matter. The whole idea here is that when we try to print like or calculate the square root of something, math.square_root is just one of those functions that uses up a lot of like optimization, which is why I'm using it, right? So we're basically getting the square root of, you know, whatever numbers here, and then we're also printing it, because if you don't print it, I've noticed it doesn't like work for some reason. But if you actually try and print it, well then, let's see what happens. Yeah, so I'm not sure if you're noticing, but the frame rate is, it's pretty bad right now. Like, it's not bad, but like, it's definitely worse than before. And so now, how about this? Instead of 50, let's do 250. Or actually, I guess not. Let's do 150. Lovely. Honestly, I feel like this is perfect. We could go more. You know, we could ruin the frame rate a lot, but I don't know. This is like the perfect balance between like being somewhat playable and being almost unplayable. And I feel like that's like literally the perfect balance, where like you really dislike how the game runs, but it runs just enough to where you're like, okay, I'll keep on playing. And so yeah, we've just created one of the worst looking games ever made. And in fact, you know what I'm actually going to do right now? I'm not sure how many of you know this, but the way that numbers work in any game, not just, you know, Roblox, is that the bigger a number gets, or like, you know, the higher something is. Like, what if I take all of these things? So I've just modeled everything to be a model. What if I position it to be 1,000,000 studs high? Well, the way that it works now is that whenever something is like really high, computers and, you know, the calculation engine isn't a big fan of that. And so what happens then is that a lot of things just start being really weird, right? This is called, I think, floating point error or something like that. You can go Google it. It's a really interesting thing. But like, you might notice right now that when I move, everything is like shaking, like in this weird way. And the reason it's shaking is because me moving is basically like the computer is trying to calculate like how it should render everything. And because the number is high, like it's having a bit of an issue doing that. And I can show you this to you right now, because if I actually go and play the game, look at this. Look at what's going on. Yeah, so this is what happens when you move like really high up. And the thing is, again, we can actually like make this a lot more. We could, instead of 1 million, we could do like 5 million. Yeah, and so now what ends up happening is that the rig looks like that. That's actually terrifying. The text also is all messed up. I'm unable to move my camera up and down, which kind of sucks. And if I dare try playing this game, yeah, I mean, it doesn't even let me spawn in, which I guess is a good indicator that we probably should go lower. So yeah, back to 1 million we go. I've just disabled the script that lags this because, I don't know, I want to like run around a little bit and just see how everything looks. Yeah, isn't this so weird? Like, look at the text. I don't know. Whenever the computer updates, like, the number is so high that, like, it gets the calculations wrong. And like I said, this affects even the text. Like, look at how this looks. What even is this? So yeah, if you want to make your game look terrible, you know, you can play around with this. I'm pretty sure there's actually a Roblox game out right now, that's, like, about, like, showing you how this stuff works. Like, there's, like, a button that you can press, and then, like, teleports you, like, up really high, and, like, your character begins, like, you know, looking like this. And so yeah, if you're a beginner developer, or, you know, someone looking to develop, this is exactly what you need. You need to make a game that looks horrendous and plays horrendously, because that's obviously what every single person wants to be playing. Because look, if I join a game and it doesn't look and run like this, I just immediately feel disappointed and I log off and I never play the game again. So yeah, just make sure to do that. This would be a perfect time to mention that I have a course, which if you love the way that I make games and if you want your game to look exactly like this, link is in the description and the pinned comment, so go do and check that out. I guess I'll leave you with this interesting idea. What if you have like some horror game, right? And like it runs perfectly fine, but then like there's a level where it's like some monster that's like meant to like be some glitch or whatever, and then like this monster, it intentionally like begins to lag your game, and then like it like makes every single character look like this. I don't know, I really like that idea. Like, you know, I don't know, imagine playing a horror game where just like everything just looks like this. Like, I don't know, isn't that cool? Yeah, so maybe like intentionally lagging and breaking a Roblox game could actually be a fun idea. I don't know. Again, legally that's a joke, in case like some big game tries this and like their game just crashes and they lose all of their money. So, you know, I'm not responsible for your decisions. But yeah, hopefully you've learned something new in this video. Damn, this guy's barely holding on. I mean, look at him. So yeah, if you want to avoid being like this guy, go check out my course, obviously. Join the Discord server, leave a comment, like and subscribe. And as always, we are back to basics. It's so hard to move the camera, damn. We are back to basics. Thank you for watching.